Hello, everybody, and welcome to the WDW Newscast. Today is April 6th, 2011. I'm Lou Mongello, author of the Walt Disney World Trivia Books, host of WDW Radio, author of the audio guides to Walt Disney World, and publisher of Celebrations Magazine. I want to welcome you to tonight's newscast. Be sure and join us every Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern at WDWNewsCast.com for a live video broadcast and interactive discussion about this week's Walt Disney World news. You could be a part of the newscast, discuss it real time in the chat room, and if you can't make it live, you can always come by and comment over at youtube.com/WDW Radio on the WDWRadio.com website, or you can also listen to the audio-only portion of the newscast by subscribing to the WDW Radio iTunes feed. Be sure and also follow me on Twitter. I'm twitter.com/Lou Mongello, and join the WDW Radio friend page at facebook.com/WDW Radio. This week's newscast is sponsored by our friends over at touringplans.com. They are the research team behind the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World. On the site, you can find a crowd calendar with the best parks to visit, the parks to avoid, hundreds of different touring plans for all the theme parks and water parks. If you go with small kids, with adults, with grandma, by yourself, there is a touring plan for you. And of course, don't forget, you can also take touring plans with you to the parks with the Lines application on your smartphone. You can get Fast Pass, actual wait times. You can submit your own, lots more. Again, check it all out over at touringplans.com. So on to today's breaking news, and it really is breaking news and really ties into Walt Disney World, because the Disney Cruise Line made a much-anticipated announcement about itineraries for 2012, as well as 3 new home ports: New York, Seattle, and Galveston, Texas. So if you live in those areas, a Disney cruise is even more convenient for you. For some of you, it's right in your backyard. Starting May 25th, 2012, let's start off with New York City. The Disney Magic is going to sail on 20 cruises out of New York with 3 unique and sort of very different types of itineraries. First, there's going to be an 8-night Bahamas cruise that includes a day on Castaway Cay, Disney's private island, as well as Nassau, and a stop at Port Canaveral in Florida, which gives you the opportunity to visit Walt Disney World. And as part of the itinerary, you get a 1-day Walt Disney World park hopper ticket and round-trip transportation between the port and the Walt Disney World Resort. Excuse me. Rates for the new 8-night Bahamian cruise departing from New York start at about $1,240 per person for a standard inside stateroom, obviously based on double occupancy. Also out of New York, there's going to be 5-night cruises up the New England coastline. That'll have ports of call at Halifax, Nova Scotia, and St. John, New Brunswick. So you get to visit Canada with its beautiful natural vistas, Canada's oldest farmers market, lots of charming shops, and so much more. Rates for those 5-night cruises, starting from New York, start at about $715 per person, again, for standard inside double occupancy. Excuse me. People in the chat room already very, very excited about this. Remember, a lot of Walt Disney World visitors come from the Northeast. Again, this is one that's right in their backyard. Lets them go north to Canada or south to Walt Disney World. So technically, you could be like a 10-minute cab ride to Walt Disney World if you live in the New York area. Finally, this one's pretty interesting. There are 3 2-night cruises on June 15th, July 13th, and August 10th that are perfect for families looking for kind of a quick getaway. They're cruises to nowhere. They are really 2-night cruises that start at about $370 per person. So if you're looking to take a quick trip with your family, maybe something special for your girlfriend, fiance, spouse, whatever it might be, this is a great opportunity to get on one of the Disney classic ships at a very, very reasonable price. And again, sailing right out of New York. Let's move over to the West Coast, because they're also going to be leaving from Seattle starting on May 28th, 2012. The Disney Wonder is going to have another season of Alaskan cruising, 7-night Alaska cruises from Seattle to Tracy Arm, Skagway, Juneau, and Ketchikan, Alaska, as well as Victoria, British Columbia. These rates start at about $917 per person for the standard inside double occupancy stateroom. The other new announcement is a completely new port. This is one a lot of people had heard rumors about for some time, really, because at one point, Galveston, Texas was and still is very much another cruising hub, despite what a lot of people think. So starting on September 22nd, 2012, the Disney Magic is going to move down to Galveston. It's going to sail on 7-night cruises to the Western Caribbean, including Grand Cayman, which is beautiful, Mexico's Costa Maya, and Cozumel. This will run about $840 per person, again, standard inside, based on double occupancy. So you excuse me, now get, again, the opportunity to leave from a completely different port, different part of the country. Remember, Houston, one of the United States' biggest cities, very, very convenient for those people that can't get out to Port Canaveral or out to the West Coast. So you'll have 3 days at sea to explore and enjoy the Disney Magic, as well as 3 days in port to enjoy the beaches, the shopping, the restaurants, and, of course, the restaurants. Also, out of Los Angeles, the Disney Wonder is going to set sail on its normal 7-night Mexican Riviera courses, but they're also going to have Disney's first ever voyage to Hawaii, one sailing on April 29th, 2012. It's a 15-night, count 'em, folks, Hawaiian cruise out of the port of Los Angeles that includes stops in Hilo, Kuhului, Maui, Honolulu, Oahu, Naboili, and I know I pronounced that wrong, but you get the idea, Kauai, and Ensenada, Mexico. Rates for that, again, one sailing on April 29th, 2012, start at about $1,800, double occupancy per person for an inside stateroom. They're also going to have the normal 7-night Pacific Coast cruises with calls in San Francisco, San Diego, and Ensenada, Mexico. Those will start about $770 per person. Again, there is a great deal of new offerings for people who, even if you've cruised before, you now have new destinations, new ports, and new itineraries. Now, a lot of people were wondering, what does that mean for Disney's newest ships, the Disney Dream and the Disney the Disney Fantasy, sorry. The Disney Dream is going to continue. It's 3, 4, and 5-night Bahamian cruises out of Port Canaveral. Again, those 3 and 4-night cruises start as low as $471 per person for a standard inside stateroom. The Disney Fantasy is going to have her maiden voyage on March 31st, 2012. That's going to sail out of Port Canaveral on 7-night Caribbean itineraries, alternating east between St. Martin and St. Thomas, and west, Grand Cayman, Costa Maya, Cozumel, as well as some special Eastern Caribbean sailings in November and December, which stops at St. Thomas and San Juan, Puerto Rico. Of course, all the fantasy cruises stop at Disney's private island on Castaway Cay. So I'm watching the chat room as we're talking about this, and immediately as we started talking about the New York itinerary, this is where a lot of people, a lot of activity started right off the bat. Again, because not only I think because so many people live up in the New York area, but because of where it goes. You can go to the Bahamas, you can go to Walt Disney World, but you can also go up the New England coastline. And again, if you want to take that quick, inexpensive cruise to nowhere, you can take those 3 2-night cruises. Again, in Seattle, you get the opportunity to go on the Wonder out to Alaska. These are proving to be very, very popular cruises because not only of where they depart from, but where they're going. Alaska cruises, traditionally such beautiful cruises, and certainly Galveston, Texas offers a whole new opportunity for people, excuse me, who are living in the South to take a Disney cruise. And again, the fact that the Disney Magic and Wonder are spread out to these new destinations lets the Disney Dream and the Fantasy stay down in Port Canaveral. So my question to people who are in the chat room, who may be watching or may be listening, come by, either comment on YouTube or comment in the comment section at WDWradio.com. Which of these itineraries gets you most excited? Which one of these, when you heard the announcement, got you most excited, either as a port to leave from or a possible destination? TTA Rider says Disney is slowly taking over the U.S. People already starting to say New York, New York. Queens Ferry says Texas. Crisby loves the idea of a cruise to nowhere. Seeing a lot of people talking about New York. Sorcerer GT loves the Hawaii cruise. I wonder if this is something that they're going to test out one time and then maybe make as a normal thing, or start bring into the itineraries maybe for 2013 and going on. Yensid is definitely thinking about a Texas cruise. Kathy RN, again, loves New York. Zeus New York, obviously by her name, loves New York. Lady Aurora, Jess loves the idea of a cruise to nowhere. I'm with you, Jess. I like that idea as well. If I lived in the Northeast, back in New Jersey, this is what I would be really excited about, is these destinations right out of New York. I think a lot of people would like to do the Hawaii cruise. It's going to come down to, as always, time and money. Does that April date fit into your schedule? And can you afford really a 15-day, forget about the money, but can you afford time-wise a 15-day cruise out to Hawaii? I totally sense research trip coming in my near future. People would love to go to New York for a few days, cruise down to Walt Disney World for another 10 before flying back to the UK, says Andre Willie. Henry says it seems to be good experiments going to all these different destinations. Henry, I totally agree. And I think what this does is it reinvigorates the classic ships, certainly with the Disney Dream being so much larger, obviously brand new, technologically more advanced than the Magic and Wonder. This gives those ships, I think, new life. Remember, they're more than a decade old. And in the cruise industry, that's starting to show age. Going to these new destinations, again, gives more opportunity for people to enjoy the cruises when they may not have in the past. I wonder if they will go into dry dock anytime before, during, or after any of these new itineraries get going. People would love for the next WDW radio cruise to go to Hawaii. Maybe not in 2012, but if we get enough interest, who knows? Maybe we'll go in the future. Henry says, yeah, classic, but not old. They are not old ships. Are definitely going to be giving new life. Nothing's going to get stale if they keep moving ports, says DVC. And Beth in Michigan says it makes Disney even more competitive in the cruise arena. Lbug10 makes a great point. A cruise to nowhere sounds like a good way to sample a cruise before committing to a longer one. Great point. A lot of people aren't sure if cruising is for them. Certainly don't want to invest the time and the money to fly down to Port Canaveral from the Northeast, try a 3, 4, 5, 7-day cruise. Not sure if they like it. A cruise out of New York for 2 days is a great way to enjoy just the ships as well, and certainly see if cruising is for you. I think that's going to hook a lot of people. So brilliant on Disney's part to go ahead and do that. Yeah, Cloud Cantina agrees. Tara Lynn J says she's never been on a cruise, would like for the Dream to be her first. Jensen thinks 3 nights is not long enough. He likes the 4, 5, 7, maybe even a 15-day cruise. Zeus New York like the 5-day WW Radio cruise. I agree. I think the 4 and 5-day cruises are a great mix. I like the fact that the Dream is staying in Port Canaveral, at least for the time being, offering those itineraries because it gives you the opportunity to enjoy the ship, enjoy time at sea, enjoy Port Canaveral and the port, and still go to Walt Disney World either before and or after your cruise, so you can combine the Walt Disney World land and sea with your Disney cruise trip. John O in SC, New England cruises are a good idea. That's one of the things that I really liked. I like that opportunity to go to ports that you don't normally get, certainly not out of Port Canaveral or the West Coast. Being able to go and see Canada out of New York, I think it's going to afford, again, a great opportunity for people to visit another part of the world that they might not have done otherwise, certainly in a new way, and that's by going on a Disney cruise. TTA Ryder says, yes, those cruises are missing Castaway Cay. I do agree. Castaway Cay is one of the big selling points for me coming out of Port Canaveral. That is actually the thing that I enjoy the most as far as ports are concerned, because I don't really normally get off in Nassau, some of the other ports, because I have young kids, and I want to just enjoy the ship. Let's see. Becky from Mouse Fan Travel says she doesn't think Galveston's a mistake. It's actually a good move in the cruise market for that location. I certainly agree. Again, for a long time before a lot of the weather issues that they had down there with the hurricanes and whatnot, Galveston was and still is a busy hub. I think I also like the idea of Disney investing and showing their commitment to that area of the country by bringing one of their ships over there. Galveston definitely opens up a bigger area of the country, says Nolan. They could also do a Canadian departure from Vancouver. So when are the cruises going to be available for booking? They're going to open up soon, like April 8th, as in 2 days. If you are interested in booking one or more of these cruises, I would, of course, suggest visiting a Disney specialized travel agent. Of course, my official and recommended travel provider is Becky and her team over at mousefantravel.com. They put together the WDW Radio Cruise in 2011. They will be doing it again in 2012. We are going to cruise in fall 2012, and I can tell you tonight that I cannot give you the exact date tonight. We will probably have it for you tomorrow. Please stay tuned to Twitter and Facebook and the WDW Radio Show this weekend, as we will be cruising again in 2012. We will have the port, we will have the date, and we will allow you to start booking probably as early as tomorrow. So I would love to be able to share it with you tonight. I think Becky would literally kill me from 35,000 feet where she is chatting from. But again, I would love to continue this conversation specifically on Facebook, in the forums, on WDW Radio, where I'll post this video, and of course in the comments section over at youtube.com/WDW Radio. Subscribe to the show there. Comment on the video there. I want to certainly hear what itinerary you're excited about. Will you be going to a place like Galveston, Texas, or Seattle, Washington, or Los Angeles to try a different type of a Disney cruise? Is the Hawaii cruise something you'd like to see come back? Even, yes, a 15-day cruise leaving out of Los Angeles, and do things like the Canadian itineraries and the cruises to nowhere, even if they left out of other parts of the country. Are those things you'd be interested in as well? Again, please comment in any one or all of those places. Come by, subscribe to the show over in iTunes. Don't forget to support and visit our friends over at touringplans.com. And please come by, visit us again next Wednesday and every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern at WDWNewsCast.com. Come by the website over at WDW Radio. Check out the blogs, the videos, the forums, the photo galleries, and of course, visit the WDWRadio.com shop for the audio guides to Walt Disney World and signed copies of my Walt Disney World trivia books. Thanks to everybody who's watching in the chat room. Thanks to all of you who may be watching on YouTube or on the site or listening via iTunes. I am Lou Mongello from WDW Radio. Thanks again. See you next week.